And
We're
we're
live.
live. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to Earth School Journey. We are in a new month now, February, and we are so happy to have you joining us. I am your peer guide, Uni, and this is my lovely co host and fellow peer guide, Umi.
Hey, everybody.
Oh man, we're off to an amazing month, I think, so far. Just so much going on. How are you feeling today, Omi?
I am feeling like I need some stillness. I'm feeling pretty
Ditto.
good. I am. I am feeling pretty good. Yeah.
That's so good to hear. That's so good to hear. And, I agree. I'm feeling good, but I'm definitely feeling like leaning into stillness is
Yes.
exactly what I need right now.
Hmm.
It's exactly what I need. My body is giving me those signals, and there it's still freezing cold and it's snow outside, which is telling me to stay inside. So I hear you 100%. And so we're actually going to get started. We are talking about stillness this month, as we just said. We just mentioned it. We're talking about stillness this month, and we are again just really excited to dive deep into stillness. It's such an important part of our lives, and we're not necessarily given the opportunity, or we're not, it's just not a part of our culture. I don't care what culture you have. Everybody's always working on something. It's all about push, 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 go, go, go year round. But that's not natural. That's not with nature cycles. So again, we want to welcome you, and we want to thank you for joining us in the conversation. Hopefully, you are with us in the comments tonight. We will be sharing some of our commentary, and asking you to join in the conversation with us. So please feel free, introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, and yeah, let's get started. So, Umi, what is stillness to you? What does stillness mean to you?
Hmm. It is a deep pause where you not it's not always the stillness in the body, although that is, I believe, necessary, especially because I have trouble with stillness in my body. I get like that nervous shake, right? And so stillness to me is really just taking time to notice and be mindful of what's going on around you, what's going on in your body, what's going on in your own mind, and you know, not really allowing your environment to influence what's happening in here. So, yes, it's sitting your butt down. And sometimes stillness, I think for me, is gardening and being very present and aware of what I'm doing in the garden. Um, so yeah, that's my take on stillness.
I love that, and I agree. When I am in the garden, the amount of presence and just the stillness, being in that environment, I feel like it invites a level of inner stillness and just complete awareness and presence of where you
Mhm.
are and what you're doing. I agree wholeheartedly. And, you know, I feel like stillness is like an opportunity. You know what I mean? It's an opportunity to be fully present. It's an opportunity to be, truly where you are without trying to fix, without trying to alter, without trying to go somewhere else, without thinking, ruminating on the past or worrying about the future. It's like stillness is, I feel like, just ultimate presence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's ultimate presence, and it allows you, when you get into that space, it allows you to get into such a higher vibration so that you can get into a really good flow. Like, I'm really excited for this month. Like, I really am. Another thing I'm excited about is Umi and I worked together and we created a handout for you this month, a guide, as we go through the month of stillness. And we will be following along. We ask you to download it. We'll have it, the link in our description. Download it and, follow along with us. And we hope that you're able to either edit the text and write on it, either online, or if you're able to print it out and write it out that way too. That's going to be super powerful. We've already written down some things and started to fill it out. And, just again, just writing is so powerful. You are affirming, you're pouring out, you are declaring. There's just so much in using your dominant hand to write. So, yeah, if you're able to, and even if you're not, type it in your notes on your cell phone or something, just write it out. You know what I mean? I really think it's important to write it out in one way, shape, or another. Okay. And so every month we have an intention and we have an affirmation. And so, Umi, I'll let you go first. Would you like to share your intention with us for the month of February?
Absolutely. So my intention is pretty straightforward. My intention is to sit my butt down and listen.
I love it. I love it. Like, you can't get no more still than that.
Nope. I'm gonna sit
You
my butt
cannot.
down and listen.
I love it. I love it. I'm sure everyone in your household will be happy, and I'm sure everyone will be happy. As the moms, a lot of times we nag,
Yeah.
we push, we this, we that. Umi says, not this mom. She chilling. She's chilling. All right. So mine is, I intend to create space within myself to listen more deeply.
Mm.
I hear so many things on a daily basis. Do the dishes, go to work, do this, do that. You know what I mean? Um, I like, just so many things. There's always something to do, you
Hmm.
know? But I want to have more purpose in my life. I want to do something really meaningful. I want to do something that I'm going to be like really, really proud of. Like, I'm proud of how far I've gotten. I'm proud of the work that I've been doing, but I want to hear something more deeply so that I can show up
Hmm.
more authentically and more powerfully, So that's my intention for the month of February as we lean into stillness. And as I said a few minutes ago, we also do an affirmation. So, Umi, what's your affirmation for this month?
So my affirmation, and I already have it written on my sheet here. I allow myself the peace and clarity of stillness. And the reason why I chose this affirmation is because I think that I have an antagonistic relationship with stillness, right? Like I treat it more like a chore than rest. And so I want to really reframe that in my mind. I allow myself that peace, that clarity of sitting, of stillness, of quietude, and kind of reframe that in my brain as it's not a I have to go meditate, I have to go sit, I have to go be still, and change it to like I get to do this. I get to sit down. I get to be in stillness. And so I allow myself the peace and clarity of stillness.
I love that. I love that. It's so funny. I was watching something, or maybe it was on social media, and someone made a comment about someone having free will. I forget what it was. It was just like a silly post, and someone was like, well, you have free will. You can do XYZ. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I thought about that. I was like, wait a minute. I can do whatever. Like we really are, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of nonsense going on in the world, but we have the freedom to really do a lot. You know what I mean? And sometimes we get, bogged down by life and weighed down by life. And I understand that. I've been weighed down, but I'm actively trying to push the weight off of me now or release it. But yeah, you could really do whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? And that's basically what I hear when you say that.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, I wanna do what I wanna do. I want to leave the mark that I want to leave in the world today. So I
Mm,
love that. And um, my affirmation for this month is stillness brings me closer to the truth.
mm, mm. Yes.
I talk about my time in quarantine all the time. All the time. Like, if I did not have an opportunity to be still, I would probably still be in the same cycles that I was in
Right.
previously. I'd probably still be doing the same stuff that I was doing previously, around the same people and the same environments that made me extremely uncomfortable. But I was comfortable in that chaos. I was comfortable being uncomfortable. I was comfortable in that. But when I was able to be still, I got closer to my truth and understanding that I didn't like that shit. Like, I didn't like that. You know what I mean? I just didn't. I was tolerating it.
Hmm.
And to a degree, they were probably tolerating me because I was tolerating them. We were on a similar frequency. So I'm not trying to point any fingers or make anybody out to be better or worse than me. I take responsibility for that as well, where I was, the same way I'm taking responsibility for where I'm going, you know? But being still allows me to see more clearly. It brings me closer to the truth of myself more than anything. And it's such a blessing. Again, I have the free will to say, this doesn't work for me. I don't have to feel stuck in things that ultimately are tearing me down. I get to choose to be in environments that are going to build me up. That's my truth. That's where I
Hmm.
belong. So I'm really excited to um, I feel like I need to go back to. I remember being in like fifth grade and I would get in trouble in school and I'd have to write 50 times. I will not talk in class. I will not talk in class. I will not disrupt the class. I feel like I need to write these down 50 times a day because I really want to lean into these. I want to be closer to my truth. I want to hear my truth more deeply and I want to embody it, more than anything. All right. So, um, next in homeroom check-in, we usually do a presence check-in, for whatever our topic of the month is. And so, Umi, I'm gonna ask you, how have you been present with stillness? I mean, you shared a little bit about, your journey
Yeah.
with stillness, but how have you been present with it? How do you feel, even today, as we are really diving into this?
So when we decided that we were going to do stillness for this month, I really wanted to lean into it. And so I have been actively not trying to, I'm not going to say that. I've been actively making sure that I practice stillness every day. And I've been getting up just on my own because I have to go to the bathroom at 4 a.m. for some reason every day. And so I'm like, it's quiet. I'm going to, take this moment to have a few minutes of stillness before I drift back off to sleep and then wake up. So I've been doing that pretty much all this month so far. I even marked it off on my little habit tracker because we have a little habit tracker on our sheet. So I started marking it off. So I'm trying to develop a better relationship with stillness. And I used to have a very good practice of sitting with stillness. It I want to say in this last year has become much more difficult for me. So where how present am I with it? I'm present with developing a better practice of stillness, of building a better relationship to stillness. Like I said, I think I had an antagonistic relationship with it where, not only did it feel like a chore, like one more thing on my list of things to do, but also I think my nervous system is just not equipped. My nervous system is so bombarded with tasks and noise and doing and doing and doing and doing that any attempt at stillness feels like laziness. It feels like I'm not getting something done. And so I've had to do this once before where I've had to try to get rid of that, cleanse myself of that, feeling and be able to sit, which I did. And then, like I said, this last year has just been very challenging for me. And I've kind of lost that presence with it. And so right now that's where I'm at. I'm reestablishing my relationship to stillness.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it's so important, like wherever you are, to understand. I love that deeper understanding that you have within yourself. And you're like, yeah, like it feels like one more thing for me to do, one more thing for me to check off, one more thing. You know what I mean? It's not something that you automatically feel that within your body, like you can say, okay, I need this, or this is, you know what I mean, like you're not,
Hmm.
I feel like you're not giving yourself permission to be still. You're not giving yourself permission to, because you may have been, type A, and you know what I mean, like all
Yep.
those labels and things that people use where like you have to be on go. And so allowing yourself the rest is like it can be a challenge to get there. I feel like for me, I'm almost on the opposite, kind of, sort of, like I feel like I am working on my relationship with stillness in regards to taking consistent actionable steps. I feel that there was definitely a time in my life where I was in like a functional freeze. I do what I need to do to survive, to get by, to maybe I have bursts of energy where I can do more and I can produce, you know what I mean? But for the longest time, like I just felt so um not I feel like there's a like alarmed by life, where I was just like, I don't want to do much of anything. Like I just want to do the very what I need to get by, because doing more, it brings me, attention and ridicule and criticism and all of those things that make me extremely uncomfortable. Yeah, there may be some accolades in there as well, but the criticism and all those things are like super loud. And so I don't really want to do much. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I want to
Hmm.
hide. I want to, like, I have kind of like a this codependent kind of toxic relationship with stillness, almost to a degree. And that's, like I said, emotionally I had to learn to be still. I got that opportunity, and physically in during quarantine. But this is like another aspect of it for me, where there's so many things I want to do, but I'm kind of like frozen, afraid. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so my relationship with stillness, that's really like the aspect that I want to work on, kind of like this month. And I've been really diving into that with like my birth chart, looking at, like, I have Mars in the 12th house. I have, you know what I mean, a lot of Scorpio energy. There's a lot going on. And so I've been doing my research and doing my part to like really understand, like, um why do I feel like sometimes I can be too still, you
Hmm.
know? So yeah, that's really what it is for me this month. And how about you all, our classmates? I hope you guys are enjoying the conversation as we're sharing about our relationships with stillness and its different aspects. Let us know, what is your relationship with stillness? How have you been leaning into it, or do you feel like you could use a little more movement, like I can sometimes? Let us know. Share in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And so next, we like to dive into some of our journal prompts, which is also on the handout, by the way. There's a section down here for journal prompts. So you can have the questions handy as you um, lean in and hopefully journal this month. Umi, would you like to read the first question, the first journal prompt here? Sorry.
Sure. And this one totally applies to me, and I'm going to have fun with it. What feels uncomfortable about stillness for me? I think I've just been talking about this a little. So really diving into this question in my journal is going to, I think, shed some light as I try to, embrace it, as I try to embrace stillness, because it really, there's a lot that's uncomfortable. Like I said, it's that feeling like being still is laziness, or feeling like as I'm being still, I'm shirking responsibility, or, not feeling, having the opposite, where you think of stillness and you think of peace and tranquility. And my nervous system does the opposite. But I'm going to save that for the last journal question, because that's what we're talking about.
All right. And the next one is, where in my life am I being asked to slow down?
Mm.
Sometimes it's it's all in your head, that you need to slow down. Or sometimes it's in your heart that you need to slow down. Sometimes it's in your gut that you need to like slow down, and you know what I mean? Like, it's not always about the actions that you're doing. Sometimes like I said, our minds are racing. Sometimes it's in your mouth. Sometimes that mouth needs to slow down a little bit. The throat chakra is a little overactive. There's so many ways to think about this, and I'd really like you to think outside the box a little bit. It's not always the most obvious. And when you think outside the box, sometimes you'll realize it really is obvious, but you weren't open to exploring that.
Hmm.
Do me the next one, please.
All right. What becomes clearer when I stop rushing? Hmm. When you think about that, if you think about when you're driving down the road as a passenger, not the driver, because as a driver, you're always looking out the front. But as a passenger, as you're driving down the road, if you're looking out that side, passenger window, and you're just seeing everything, you're moving so fast that everything is just a blur. You can't really focus on anything for too long because it's gone. And so that's what this brings up for me, is when the car stops. What can I see? What can I hear? What can I feel? So I think this is going to be another one that's really going to be good to explore, you know, as I think about what is it that I could be missing by constantly moving, you know. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's such a beautiful analogy. Thank you for that. And the final journal prompt that we have here is, how does my body respond when I need, excuse me, how does my body respond when I pause?
Mm, mm-hmm.
There's so many different aspects of this. Some people, when they pause, they freak out. They're like, what do I do now? What now? What now? Are you waiting for the other shoe to drop, or you're waiting for something to happen? You know, And then some people, when they pause, they allow themselves an opportunity to actually respond, instead of react. You know, that's something that I noticed a few years back, and I was like, when I pause and I'm able to like really think about whether or not something is worth my energy or not, it is such a powerful thing. Like I feel that in my body. I feel powerful when I'm able to just take a step back. You know,
Hmm.
but not everybody has that feeling. Some people, they don't know what to feel when they pause. And
Right.
so I'd really like for you to explore that question. How does your body respond when you pause? And maybe think about it like in different scenarios, in relationships and work and projects that you're doing. Um, Someone flips you off when you're driving, when before you flip them back, like what if you paused and said, you know what? I'm not even gonna let that get to me. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
How would that feel versus going the other direction? Just a few examples to consider. All right. And next in homeroom journey, or excuse me, in homeroom check-in here at our school journey. Um, we like to talk about some of the transits of the month. Now, this has been a big month for me, Umi as well. We have, we're only 4 days in, about three and a half to be exact.
Right.
But we had so much this month. I mean, we've already had a full moon in Leo.
Hmm.
That means the moon was directly aspecting the sun. That means like this is the ultimate light up moon right here. Like this is like I don't think the moon is exalted in Leo. I don't know, but I don't believe so. But I still feel like it's a powerful, potent moon. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there's a lot of energy, with regard to this full moon in Leo. And I don't think it's just because my sun and Mercury are in Leo. I don't think I'm just like making this up because it is in my chart in such prominent ways. I think that for all of us, there was a lot of work to be had and done during this full moon in Leo. I'm talking about fifth house energy. Fifth house energy is a lot. It addresses your childhood. It addresses, romance. It addresses your creativity. It addresses your self-expression,
Hmm.
your sense of self-expression. And so the moon aspecting, a full moon aspecting fifth house energy, being a full moon in Leo, I really think that there was a lot of work for a lot of us to do during this time. And if we were able to lean into it, it would have been extremely powerful. And I know that's how I feel. I feel like I'm just like, and for me, honestly, Umi, it was the leading up to it. And so, we
Yes.
were talking, right? We were talking in our group
Yes.
chat, and I'm like, there was a lot of inner child work. And one of the sisters was like, yo, we're always doing inner child healing. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. But
Hmm.
the way this energy was touching leading up to this full moon, and we're getting out of the Chinese zodiac, the year of the snake. It was like I literally felt myself like I gotta take off this stuff that's weighing down
Hmm.
my inner child, the thing that's covering my light. You know what I mean? My
Yeah.
inner light. Like I gotta remove listen, I gotta shed that shit. Like I don't have another moment to waste with my light being covered.
Hmm.
And I really felt like that's what this full moon in Leo really did for me. Umi, how do you feel? I see you like nodding, shaking, profusely agreeing.
Yes. From our conversation with our group is that the days leading up to the full moon were really intense. There was a lot of movement. There was a lot of energy that needed to be expressed to come out, and it wasn't an easy time. I had a really rough few days. I mean, there were like 3 days that I didn't get out of bed.
Mm,
It was like that. It was just I didn't I just it was so heavy that I and also, I mean, it was there was the full moon, and then it was in Leo, and then you had like 5 planets in Aquarius. So you have all of that activity going on in opposition to the full moon. It was bound to move things, I think, in a lot of people. Um, and then for me, having that be my 11th house where Leo is, and then my 5th house where all of the Aquarius energy was. You know what I mean? Like it was just a lot going on. It was a lot going on for me. But I had to take some time to just I needed to be still. And I think that's why I was kind of in bed, because that's really the only time that I feel like I can be still. And I did take that time to kind of just be a puddle. I was definitely a puddle.
I
You know,
get it.
I don't want to get into details, but let's just say every relationship in my life seemed to have something going on
I
in
hear
that
you.
moment. And I was just like, why is the world falling apart? I don't understand. Like, I felt like that inner child work, definitely that the abandonment wound, the mother wound, like all of those things, the father wound, like it was just all being irritated by this full moon because of the light that was being shined on it. So, yeah, it was a lot.
It was a lot. I'm telling you. And, so many people that I interact with across, the social media, or even in my private life, were expressing about the tiredness, the exhaustion, you know what I mean, needing rest.
Hmm.
So many people were talking about that. And so I felt like for me, and I already was giving myself permission to rest, but I definitely felt like for me, it was just showing me how aligned we all are. Like when you're able to rest, you really don't realize how you're able to release things and you're able to let things go. We think we always have to be moving and we think we always have to be doing something to be productive and or you know what I mean? Even emotionally sometimes people oh you got to go to the gym to work it out and you know what I mean? Oh go to the rage room and you know what I mean? Like those sorts
Hmm.
of things. Yeah, those things have their place for sure. But I'm telling you, you can rest and process and let go and release so much.
Right.
Rest is very productive.
Hmm.
Let's be clear on that, And so I appreciate, that so many of us are leaning into that. And I just want to say, sidebar, the groundhog. You know, I I have to talk about the groundhog for 1 second because everyone is so upset that the groundhog is saying that we're going to have 6 more weeks of winter and all of that. Now, put aside the fact that, the groundhog is, I want to say put aside the fact that so many of y'all same people were talking about when it was summertime, how you couldn't wait for, the cold, the fall, the winter. You could deal with the cold. You can't deal with the heat. So many of y'all were saying that, first of all. And now the groundhog sees its shadow I see people talking about, I see memes talking about grilling the groundhog, putting the ground, having the ground. Like, come on, like, really? I just want to clear it up real quick. The groundhog said 6 more weeks of rest, not 6 more weeks necessarily of winter. 6 more weeks of rest. I want y'all to lean into the rest, lean into the stillness. Stop trying to grill the groundhog just because it said 6 more weeks of rest. Let me tell y'all something. We got spring coming. We got summer. We got listen. It's coming. Okay, but let's lean into the rest
Yeah.
so that when spring comes, we listen. We popping out fresh this year. We not playing. Okay, we're gonna be ready to do our work. We're gonna be ready to plant those seeds. We're gonna be ready to nurture them. We're gonna be ready to to pick that fruit, harvest when it's time. We're gonna be ready.
Hmm.
But if Mother Nature says we need 6 more weeks of rest, we need 6 more weeks of rest. So I just wanted to say that before we move on to the next transit.
And you know what this makes me think is I recently found a book and I haven't read it yet, but I do want to get it. It's called How to Winter. And
Mm.
it's his name is Carl, or is it Carrie Leibowitz? Anyway, the book is called How to Winter. It's all about the mindset of like getting through winter. And this person studied um like in the extreme north where they have extreme winters and it's dark for months at a time and all of that, how they got through it, how they embrace it, how they look forward to it. And so I really want to read this. That what you were saying just reminded me of that book, and it makes me really want to get that book and read that book because we could all embrace winter a little better. I'm definitely one of those people who goes, I hate winter. I don't want to deal with winter. You know, my body wants the rest of winter. My brain doesn't want it to go. So I'm not mad at the groundhog because I didn't even know the groundhog saw its shadow. I just didn't even pay any attention to it. So
It did. It did. I'm telling you, the memes. I'm like, at first I see it one time. I'm like, y'all want to grill the ground. I see it all across social media. People want to grill the groundhog because it's so y'all want to eat groundhog meat now because it saw its shadow. And I just want to turn that into a positive. You know what I mean? We have again all spring, all summer to pop out and do what we need to. We can enjoy. Let me tell you something. We're gonna enjoy this spring and this summer. You know what I mean? Because we
Mhm.
have taken the time to rest and relax and release and all of that good stuff. Okay, but thank you so much, Umi, for that book recommendation, How to Winter. I'm gonna look it up myself. I'm a summer baby, literally born on like the day, like if you look at my birthday, it's literally the day of the sun. Like I love all things heat, summer, give it all to me. Like I do not mind at all. I love the beach. I love sweating out in the sun. I love it all. Okay, I do. I'm not exaggerating. Like it's like I can withstand heat. Like I love it. But even I feel, bad for the groundhog. I'm like, well, dang, you know what I mean? And I've been like, honestly, on a serious note, I've been really trying to lean more into the cold over the last few years. Like these are the first years that I've actually, I want to say since like 2021, maybe 2022, I actually started taking walks in the cold and going outside into nature in the cold. And it's really so beautiful to me because I get to see nature, when she's resting. I get to see like which trees and foliage stay alive throughout the winter and you know what I mean, the fall and the winter into the spring and how they flower. And like it's just so beautiful to see, go into a forest or, go into a mount onto a mount, walk up a mount, hike up a mountain or something and see nature when she's resting and then come back and see her when she's blooming and a
Mm-hmm.
lot. It's like nothing I've ever, I'm able to appreciate all of these seasons way more now.
Right.
And it may be because I'm going towards menopause, but that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. I could deal with the cold now, but back in the day, uh-uh. Uh-uh.
Mm-mm.
All right. So we have some other transits that we want to talk about. Uranus went into in direct in Taurus yesterday, which symbolizes, breakthroughs and independence, value, and stability. I actually did some research on this because this is hitting my descendant by an exact degree, like right now. It's like
Mm.
right on top of my descendant. And so I feel like I'm like all of this work I'm doing, all of this releasing I'm doing, all of this shedding, all of this saying like, I want to recover my light. I want to be, who the most high, called me to be. I want to lean in with this childlike wonder. I want to be, you know what I mean? I want to be my real true self before the world dumped a whole bunch of crap on me
Mhm.
for me to wash off,
Right.
How about you, Umi? Any thoughts on Uranus going direct in Taurus?
Um, it's Taurus is in my eighth house, so I don't even want to.
Mm, I hear you. Say
Pass.
no. All right. Well, what about the next one?
Mercury and Pisces. So Mercury and Pisces is actually in its fall. So I'm thinking that, and then later this month, I might as well just get to it now. Don't we have a retrograde in Pisces? Mercury retrograde. We do the 25th. Mercury retrogrades in Pisces, and so yeah, Pisces for Mercury is already a difficult transit. So I think it's already gonna, because Pisces is a very emotional, watery planet. It makes for emotional communication. I so I can see that um being a little more difficult interpersonally, but you know, it could also mean that you're more in tuned intuitively. You know, the internal communication may be a little clearer, whereas the interpersonal communication may not be. And then having a retrograde in there, well, it's just gonna and a retrograde, it just means you need to take some time to revisit ideas, look at things, again, things may come up. um every Mercury retrograde, people talk about how people from your past start to come back, and, maybe you need to have that conversation, and then maybe when you see that person pop up, you just go, not today. Because I don't know that I can not emotionally communicate with this person right here, right now. And maybe that emotion is what you need in order to have that conversation. So, I think that as far as Mercury is concerned and communicating, you may want to take a pause, have some stillness before you have those conversations, because it's going to be a tough one for Mercury this month.
Yeah, and in conjunction with that, Venus is actually going to enter Pisces this month too. So,
Mhm.
do not allow yourself to get deluded, please. Take that Venusian, that Mercury retrograde, all that energy and pour it into yourself. You know what I mean? Dream about the best, version of yourself. I was watching, or excuse me, I was reading on Substack, and the Hood Healer is doing a glamour magic workshop, and I was looking into it, whether or not I'm able to do it or not, given my time constraints and everything I have going on. But I really think that that workshop is really in alignment with this energy coming up. I don't remember the dates or whatever, but like some sort of, glamorize yourself, like really put that Venusian and all of that, your thoughts and all of that on your, envision your highest self. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And really pour into yourself this month, and practice stillness while you're doing it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Lean into that. Find a picture of yourself where maybe a picture that you love of yourself, and put it on your altar, put it up, meditate, look at it, take it in. I think this is a really good month to make sure that you are, we think about Pisces, like you said, being a water sign, and us being, I guess, what are we, 85% water or something like that, attuning the water in our bodies so that we are really in our most loving and honest, true selves, and we really love ourselves on a deeper level so that we can attract that to us come, once we get into Aries season, when it's all fire and all of that stuff.
Hmm.
Let's get in attune, attuned within.
Yeah. Venus in Pisces is it's very Venus is actually very comfortable, and it's the opposite of Mercury, where Venus is very comfortable in Pisces.
Hmm.
And when you're too comfortable, that's not always a good thing. So yeah, I agree
Hmm.
with you on
Hmm.
being alert, being, really taking a moment and thinking about, and reflecting. And Pisces is also a very spiritual sign. So
Hmm.
it may be the best time to kind of go within a little more, take that time for stillness, really work on that connection to the divine. Your and Venus is associated with values. So what is it that Pisces is calling for you to examine about your values?
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, really get clear on that for sure. Wow, thank you for that. And then on the 13th of this month, we have Saturn going into Aries.
Mm.
And this talks about well, it'll be there for 2.5 years. And it really talks about, self-leadership and discipline and having that authority over yourself. I think this is really this is really powerful because later on this month, I believe it's after the 17th, but there's a fire horse year in Chinese astrology.
Mhm.
And I feel like it's really gonna be first of all, we got to be careful, out here because a lot of people are going to be out for themselves. You know what I mean? And finding people who you can work with effectively, you know what I mean? It's going to be really, really key over the next few years. Like, how can I get my needs met? How can you get your needs met? How can we meet in the middle? Because let's not forget, we have Pluto and we have so many other planets in Aquarius that is, it's telling us we need to come together. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? It's telling us we need to come together, but first we have to come to we have to know how to operate within ourselves with integrity and love and honesty and all of that stuff. And that's really what we have been doing during this time. We're shedding all of that stuff, all of the insecurities, all of the fear, all of the lack, all of that. We're shedding all that stuff so that when this transit happens going in from the, in the middle of the month, we can get that personal authority and we can meet up with our communities and we can show up in wholeness. I'm really excited about, the transits that are happening right now. Uni, anything on Saturn and Aries or maybe even the next ones that we have here?
Oh, Saturn and Aries. Well, only thing I can really say about Saturn and Aries is Saturn is the strict teacher and Aries does not want to be taught.
Ooh.
So again, this is an interesting month because we got a lot of planets like kind of in the house that they don't really want to be in, particularly when it's
Mm,
something like Saturn. So it's going to be interesting to watch that play out. Um, on a global level, on a community level, because where it falls for you and your how, your chart is going to be different personally versus, how it is collectively. And this is a collective energy. So that's yeah, that's all I really have to say about that.
mm-hmm,
And then we have this solar eclipse in Aquarius. I am interested in also seeing how this plays out in our current political environment. And I don't really talk about politics a whole lot, but just given everything that's going on. Oh yeah, and Saturn in Aries is on the February 13th, which I believe is when the monks make it to DC.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Talk about personal discipline.
Hmm.
And then the 17th we have that solar eclipse in Aquarius. So, it's Aquarius is it's the sign of humanitarianism. I couldn't get the word out. It just wasn't coming. Humanitarianism. And solar eclipses have this power to kind of really shift things, perspectives, situations. They can be a great time of transformation, eclipses in general, but this being a solar eclipse, the light is being, you know, covered in the daytime. Um, and I don't know, we may not feel it as strongly here because I don't believe we're going to actually be able to see it here in the US. But the energy is still out there globally. So to see how it plays out is going to be interesting.
I agree. And I just love that you just brought up the part that, it's a solar eclipse. Again, sun energy, solar
Mhm.
energy being highlighted this year. I mean, excuse me, this month. Earlier, with the full moon in Leo, and now with the solar eclipse in Aquarius. This is I'm telling you, I feel like the shifts that are going to happen are going to be extremely powerful. I mean, we see people coming together in ways now that, you know, we haven't in a while. And I really think that, I mean, a lot of times there's a catalyst for it. So, we got to definitely look out for that. Um, but if I want to say if the end results bring us closer together, then, you know,
Mhm.
it did its job. You know what I mean? I don't
Right.
want to put any sort of doom and gloom. I really hope that we can get to that sense of togetherness, for the highest good of all with peace and love. You know what I mean? And just a greater level of understanding and awareness come over us.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. That's why I didn't really want to say a whole lot. I say it's going to be interesting to watch it play out. I
Yeah.
don't want to, I don't like predictions. I don't like doing that.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't like to
yeah.
guess what might happen.
Yeah.
I just want to put it on everybody's radar to kind of pay attention.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And towards the end of the month, of course, we'll be going into Pisces season where, again, that Pisces energy, I think that, Mercury going into Pisces earlier, in the month, Venus in Pisces, that Mercury retrograde in Pisces, all of those energies are going to prepare us for the sun entering Pisces. Um, I think the stillness is going to, this month is going to really help us to make sure that we are leaning into the Piscean sun at a higher frequency. You know what I mean? Like really leaning into this, really, not running around doing a whole bunch of stuff, like really leaning into stillness is going to give us this clarity so that when Pisces season comes, we are operating in wholeness. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? We're operating with that Pisces is what, the 12th house.
Yep.
Yeah, that 12th house, those things that can be hidden coming to the surface and
Hmm.
really allowing us to work with the energy instead of it like, taking over us. Like it, I sometimes like I think about Piscean energy. It can like wash over you. You know what I mean? It can blind you. It can be blurry. It can be very diluted. But
Mm-hmm.
this inner clarity that we are working on is going to really help us get into that um that area where we can really trust our intuition, where we can really, just be still and know. That's really what it's given for me. What about you, Umi?
No, I think you said everything that needs to be said. Yeah, Sun in Pisces. I think this is a perfect opportunity to practice that stillness. Like it's a time you really need that stillness. You know. So
Yeah, for sure. And then we only have a few minutes. I'll just say, towards the end of the month, we have Mars squaring Uranus, and which is going to bring sudden impulses and breakthroughs and potential tension around independence and action. Um,
is that in? I think that's going to happen in Aquarius, right? Mars is.
yeah, well, we have Uranus and is in Taurus, and I think Mars may still be in Aquarius at that time. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you.
Okay. Oh yeah, Mars. I think Mars is in Aquarius and Uranus is.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so it's going to be a very interesting. Those signs, they square each other. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like it's for me in my chart, it's my moon square my descendant. You know what I mean? So just looking at that from my perspective is, I think that I definitely will need to be mindful of like my relationships with women and like really leaning into the higher frequency and make sure that I'm being aware because there's going to be some opportunities, I believe, for growth and for more togetherness. That's what I believe. And so I'm really looking forward to the end of this month and really leaning into this energy.
Mm-hmm. All right. That was
All
a lot.
right. Yeah, it is a lot. Like
It's a
this
heavy
is a
transit
lot.
month.
It's very heavy.
Yeah.
Very heavy. Do you want to go over our sacred announcements for the month?
Oh, so our plan for the rest of the month, in addition to our new, these practice sheets are going to come in handy as we go through the month. We're going to keep tweaking them so that they are useful each week for you to take your notes and things like that. So don't forget to download that. Next week, we're going to kind of go into like the necessity of stillness and embracing stillness. The week after that, we do our deep dive where we pick one thing that we talked about in week 2 and we kind of really go deep on it and get some real clarity on that before we do our study hall, in which we will discuss different ways that you can practice stillness and different things that can support it, like different herbs and different crystals and different practices. Um, so that you can start your own stillness practice. I mean, we should be practicing stillness all month, right? But this is kind of the study hall is where we really go deep into, okay, well, is this working for me? Maybe I can try that, right? So yeah, that's what our month is going to look like this month, and we're looking forward to sharing it all with you and hearing what you have to say. And if you're in the comments with us right now, let us know what you need to know about stillness, and we'll include that in the next couple of weeks conversations. We're happy to address things that our classmates have coming up. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Umi. Yes, yes, yes. We really are open to really interacting with you all at a greater level, and so we'd love for you to share any comments or suggestions that you have. And with that, we really want to thank you all so much for joining us. Yes, thank you so much. This has been an amazing conversation, really diving into stillness and talking about how we can lean into the energy with the upcoming transits and declaring our intentions and affirmations for the month and using our new study guide. I'm so excited about the study guide.
Yeah.
Um, all right, so this has been Earth School Journey. I'm your peer guide, Uni. This is my lovely co-host and peer guide, Umi. And again, we want to thank you for joining us on our journey here. We want to remind you to allow yourself to be guided and supported and lovingly reminded of who you are on this
Mm.
journey. Allow yourself, lean into it. Until
Yes.
next time, we'll see you later. Peace.
Peace.